Hi, and welcome to Rise, Heal, and Grow. I'm Leah M. Hill. This show is a podcast production of Apollo Sunrise Center, which is a health, wellness, and spiritual retreat center in Merrimack, Massachusetts. On this show, we shine the light on those who nurture wellness and inspire positive change. And my guest today actually transmits divine light through her hands. My guest today is Mirabai Devi. She is a world-renowned spiritual teacher, healer, and humanitarian, and the founder of the Mirabai Devi Foundation. Welcome, Mirabai.
Thank you so much, Leah.
Thank you for being on my show today.
You're
I was
welcome.
so looking forward to having you tell your story and share with everyone what you do. But I know it started at a very young age for you. What was that like? What happened?
So I started at 3 years old, and from 3
Wow.
to 7 years old, I astral traveled and went to different planets and dimensions and worked with different masters of light who trained me on how to turn the darkness into light inside of human beings. And I was trained in healing humans and also in bringing humans into higher states of consciousness.
Oh my God. And this was 3 years old to 7 years old. That's a lot for any child to take in. How did that happen? Like, how could you even take that in as such a young child?
Because I was an old soul, and when I was born pretty much awake, and I had the understanding on a very simple level. It wasn't an understanding on a complex level. It was just intuitive to my soul. And also because when I was traveling at night, astrally, I was not in my 3-year-old body.
Right. You were your spirit self. So
I was my spirit self in my light body. Yes.
Yes. If we can just briefly explain what the astral travel is for anyone who might not be familiar with it and what that experience is like for you.
Yes, so astral travel is when you leave your body at night and you're still attached to your body by a silver thread, and your light body goes to different dimensions and realms and does work. And you work on people, both on the physical and non-physical dimensions.
So people would normally do this, but they don't remember it, maybe? Or is...
Yes, lots of people do it.
So it's not like dreaming. It's different from a dream.
It is different than a dream. A lot of people do it, and they don't remember that they're doing it because they don't bring it back to their conscious awareness. But for me, there was no difference between my conscious awareness and my experiences because it was an awakened state.
Yeah, so you're awake at a very young age to who you really are, it sounds like, and who you have been. In this larger state of consciousness, or in the spirit world, I would say.
Yes.
And but then you were growing up. What was that like? Like going to school and having friends and all of that?
Yeah, so at the age of 7, I wanted to be like everybody else.
Oh, sure.
And I realized that not everybody experienced what I experienced, because at kindergarten I used to say that I fly and I'm ancient. Do you fly? Are you ancient? And when I understood that others didn't have the same experience as me, I wanted to fit in, and so I shut down from 7 years old to 17 years old so I could have friends, go to school, go to high school, graduate, and be quote unquote normal.
Right. I totally understand that. I grew up as an intuitive medium, and I had experiences as a very small child, not like yours, but more like seeing spirits and getting premonitions and feelings about things that other people weren't talking about. And I had the same thing. As I got older, I noticed that it was actually getting clearer and stronger, and it made me want to shut it down even more because I wanted the same thing. I wanted to be normal, to have friends, and I did not want to be ostracized or kicked out of the group, I guess you would say. So it must have been a tough transition for you to get through those years, but you did. Good.
I did, yes, and it was a tough transition, and it makes sense, to shut down, to turn it off so that we can normalize and have other people relate to us, and so we can relate to other people. Otherwise, it's a very lonely journey, a lonely path.
Right. And actually, in a way, what you're saying is it probably helped you and helped me to have those experiences while we were shut down or staying hidden, because we learned a lot more about this world, right?
Exactly,
about this world at that time.
And I think learning about this world was helpful for me because I became a spiritual teacher intuitive and spiritual healer at the age of 22 years old.
Wow, that's still very young.
Still young. And so being able to have had that time of being in the world and experiencing worldliness, I was able to then understand how to explain it and teach it and train humans in it after going through the transition myself back and forth.
Yes. And was there any like pivotal moment where you decided to just accept yourself?
Yes, I really left at 17 when I was, I guess, going into the awakening back up period. And I became a vegetarian and a Hare Krishna, and I loved spirituality, and I was chanting mantras, and I was starting to begin my process towards my spiritual gifts awakening. That's when I realized that I needed to go inward, inside, and accept that what was happening to me was actually a series of spiritual powers or gifts that I needed to work with my inner soul and spirit and my inner guides to have further training on.
Right. So that makes sense that you would need to do that to kind of, I don't know if you could shut down the outside world, if that's what you kind of had to do, but to really go within yourself is a very difficult thing to do, especially at that young age. But you were able to do that, you think, because of the experiences you had as a child?
Yes, actually, somewhere between 20 and 21, I shut down for a year and stopped speaking on the outside, except necessity speaking.
Really?
So that I could just listen to my guides and receive inner dictation and inner training and understand what was coming from my inner voice. And I said, I don't want to follow what's in the Bible or what's in the Quran or what's in the Jewish New Testament, the Jewish, what do you call it, scriptures, or the Vedas, or the Torah, or the Vedas, or anything else. I want to hear it directly from within. And that's when I really understood that we can have a direct relationship with God, a direct relationship with the spiritual masters, and with our own inner guidance and our inner guides. And that really changed my life.
Wow. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I know a lot of people would love to have that experience, but feel like, oh, well, that didn't happen to me when I was 3 years old. You know, I wasn't doing astral travel. So how can I get that kind of connection that you're talking about? I mean, even to be able to be silent for a year is extraordinary right there, to be able to do that. So what do you tell people who are like, well, that's you, but not me, I can't do that?
Well, what I would say is that everybody has that innate intuitive, inner, telepathic, psychic spirituality inside of them, but they have been trained to have veils and layers to fit in, to be worldly, to be part of the materialistic world, and to not be different. And our world has threatened people that are different and made them become outcasts or freaks or considered weird. And so what I would say is that the first step on the path is self-acceptance, is to accept that one has those innate spiritual abilities that are hidden beyond the veils, and that the first step would be to get a spiritual teacher or a spiritual healer or energy worker to help remove the layers and the veils that are blocking them from seeing it, feeling it, experiencing it, owning it, and knowing it. Because being in community, like what you have, is so helpful. And what I'm building and have been building for 32 years is a creation of community where others can come and say, I'm not alone.
Yes.
I'm not different. There are many others like me, and I can now tap in and explore my gifts with the help of my physical teachers and guides.
Yeah, that is so important, because that's what was happening to me as I was growing up. And the first step to self-acceptance, you know, I was like, was just really validation for me, like you said, from a community of people that said, you're not making this up. You know, like, this is real. What you're experiencing is really happening. It's not just, you know, something to be shunned or ashamed of or something. It's really valid. And to have that community, like you're saying, what you teach and what you're building is so important for people that are feeling lost with it and don't know how to manage their experiences or don't know what's happening to them.
And I really feel, thank you for saying that, because I really feel that between my global healing meditation world peace prayer programs, which have built an online global community, along with my own process with energy work, classes and Zoom webinars that I do every 2 weeks, and my retreats that I lead and so forth, and my one-to-one sessions, I've created an education school or a school of spiritual education that now people can benefit from
Yeah.
all over the world, because it's online on Zoom, or people can come in person if they're in the area and so forth. And that we can provide this safety net of this environment where it's normalized and they can meet others that are in the same way of thinking and being. And I believe that after all the years of all the programs where we've led these global meditations, or we've worked on raising mass consciousness or changing collective consciousness and creating group coherence fields, we're seeing a huge level of spiritual awakening now amongst
definitely.
humanity
Yeah.
as a result of those like you and me
Right.
that have been doing this for 32 years, blazing the trail and lighting the path with the torch that lights the way, so that others can follow that way and
Yeah.
be comfortable in their own ability to let themselves go and awaken and wake
Yes.
up spiritually.
Right. And I agree so much. There is such a resurgence of like spiritual awakening that's happening everywhere in the world, It used to be, a very isolating experience, hiding away in places that, you didn't want to be out there. You didn't want to be known as a spiritual person. For you to be, on camera telling people who you are, it would have been very risky many years ago. So here we are able to talk about who we are and share it and share what we do is a tremendous blessing to have at this time on the planet.
It really is.
Yeah.
Consciousness has shifted and changed, and it is becoming a little bit more mainstream, starting with things like yoga, which
Yes.
became very mainstream.
Yeah.
And now things like energy work and alternative medicine are becoming more mainstream. And the work that we're doing is more accessible. So thank goodness,
Right.
that it is becoming more normalized and understood and not so very hidden.
Yeah, and let's talk about the work that you do, the transmission that you do of divine light. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. The transmission of divine light is really from my spiritual awakening in 1992 in Goa, India. I actually merged with the divine light, or went into a state of unity consciousness or oneness.
Wow.
And ever since that day, I'm able to merge into becoming the light, and then transmit it as I'm transmitting it from the central headquarters, or
goodness.
merged into the light as the light. And so it's coming through me. It is not from me. It is coming through me from the divine, which I am tapped into or unifying with in that state of consciousness. And so it's not necessarily the universal life force energy that people talk about in Reiki or some of the hands-on or distant healing modalities. It's
Okay.
similar in those ways, but in a sense more advanced, because it's dealing with bringing people into very high levels of consciousness, and it's a karma burning technique. It
Wow.
burns the karmic imprints and the family lineage karma and personal past life karma, as well as removing blockages. So it's very, very much more intricate and complex than what people understand. It's not just a blessing.
Okay, thank you for explaining that, because I've experienced your light transmissions myself at a couple of your events, and I have found them to be, truly profound. I mean, I love that it seems to be for anybody, right? You don't have to be intuitive, you don't have to be awake, you don't have to be, and you can just go there and receive this light transmission. And from what I understand, the person receives whatever they need to receive. Like, you're not controlling what the person receives, it's just going through you and coming to that person. And in my experiences, I felt like, during the actual light transmission, I was like hyper aware. I had a lot of awareness. I was getting, visions and hearing things, but nothing really like clear and profound messages or anything. But then the following days, like my dreams were very vivid at night. A friend of mine who attended one of your events said a couple of nights later she had a really clarifying dream about her life path that was extremely helpful. Is that some of the things that can also happen?
Yes, clarifying visions about your life,
Yeah.
dreams, remembrances, healing of long-term relationships where there have been rifts or breakups with family members and heartbreaks, healing of physical and emotional illnesses,
Wow.
ailments, pain, physical pain, emotional pain, and the releasing of toxicity, burdens, stuckness, blocks on all different levels, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. So there are so many different ways in which the light translates for people, in the sense that it burns up those karmic imprints and releases the burdens that we're carrying, the pain and suffering we're carrying for others. It releases the pain and suffering we're carrying from the past. It detoxes the system. So automatically the body spontaneously knows how to heal itself.
Wow.
And so when we combine that light transmission with any other modality, all the other modalities are going to work, whereas before they may not work because the system is shut down. The cells are blocked. The energy is blocked. The negativity that is at a maximum level in that person is causing everything to not work. So the light transmission turns on the switch, it opens the door, and it allows everything to flow and to work, which is profound.
That's totally, so it's sort of clearing the path of all the debris or whatever can be cleared at that time. It's clearing out of the way all the debris and the things from the past, like you said, and just paving the way to allow the body to naturally heal itself, right?
That's correct.
To naturally do that.
That's exactly right, because when we give the body enough energy and we raise the vibrational frequency of the soul or the subtle bodies or the cell, the mitochondria and the cells, then automatically that higher vibrational frequency will work on the organs, it'll work on the chakras, it'll work through the nervous system, and it'll give the body the energy and the subtle bodies the energy it needs to be able to heal itself.
Wow. That's incredible. And this can happen all at once, like you said, or maybe over a period of time?
Yes, this can happen all at once. For some people, there are miraculous outcomes in healings, total life changes, people going into bliss, floating for 3 to 6 months at a time, feeling like they're floating on clouds and expanded into pure unconditional love and bliss, all the way to people having spontaneous physical healings of long-term painful conditions. But now this also, for other people, might take many repetitions, many times of experiencing it, and building a quotient of a certain amount of that energy in their system if they are truly, really depleted.
Okay. Right. So it kind of depends on, where you start from, but it doesn't matter. No matter where you start from, this really sounds like it is for anybody. No matter where you are, you can benefit from it.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it is for anybody, and anybody can come and receive it, and nobody has to be specifically trained in it, and I do a sort of mini training before I do transmit it. But yes, I work with the broad spectrum of humanity, people at any level of consciousness, any type of life experience. And really, it's all about what you need help with, what is going on for you individually. It could be an emotional issue, back pain, heartbreak, or headache, and it's all going to be the same, because the light and the energy is going to open the individual to that process of healing.
Right. And as you mentioned, this isn't just, it was given to you, this knowledge and this awareness that you have this ability, but you also train people. You have a light worker training school.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I do train people. I've had a light worker training school for 25 years in the United States, and 30 years including South Africa and international. And so this is to train intuitives, healers, energy workers, spiritual teachers, psychotherapists, medical doctors, and other people, social workers that work with people, to open their capacity to more spiritual gifts to flow through them, to improve their practices and their work, and to also train them to do what they're meant or designed for through their own soul's birthright and purpose.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just a standardized procedure. This is what you do. This is how you learn it. It's more about who am I and what am I bringing to this channeling ability, I guess it would say, like the ability to channel the light or transmit the light.
Exactly, so, you got it. Yes, it's about who am I as an individual, and how can I help you to hone in on your gifts and your abilities and remove your blockages so that you can really fully let them shine through you and do your work that you came to do. That's what my school is designed to create, a whole person, and I call it a karma finishing school.
Karma finishing school. I love it. I love it. Okay. And when you're doing your work and having the events, you also incorporate mantras and guided visualizations as well?
Yes, I do. I include mantras, I include guided visualizations, I include affirmations, I include spiritual teachings, and I include channeling, guided channeling, energy work, and of course question and answer sessions and guided The guided visualizations are extensive, taking people on journeys to other realms and dimensions to meet
Wow.
light beings, angelic beings, archangels, their higher self, all kinds of things. And then also, in addition to that, there's a lot of training in whatever the mentorship is.
And that is too.
Yes.
Wow. And you have a very special event coming up October
Yes.
18th at Apollo Sunrise Center in Merrimack, Massachusetts. You're going to be there to you'll do a little talk first, do the light transmission, and then we will combine that with Nada Brahma Kirtan band.
Yes.
And if anyone's not familiar with what kirtan is, it's live music, devotional chanting. It's very uplifting.
Call and response.
Call and response. It's very uplifting. It's a wonderful experience. So I would like to just mention that if anyone would like to experience your work in
Thank you.
person, and then they
Yes.
can also reach out to you at your website.
Yes,
which
they're
is-
welcome. You're welcome to join us at the Apollo Sunrise Center for this event and to experience the work. It's very sweet, very powerful, profound, and that is MirabaiDevi.org. Again, MirabaiDevi.org, and all of the events and event details and listings are on the website on the event page, as well as a lot of other free material like mantras, affirmations, forgiveness prayers, guided visualizations, and many, many more things
Great.
on that. It's an extensive website.
Wow. Thank you, Mirabai, so much for being here today. This was a fantastic discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
And
Leah.
thank you to all of you. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for watching us here today or listening. And please join us again soon. We have lots more episodes coming up.